Hello, I'm Andrew Mudd, and I've been to Haiti, unlike some people. I've actually been there a few times, for a few different reasons, with a few different amounts of hair. I've spent about 2.5 months there total, over the course of 3 trips, starting in 2008. I have buddies there. It's pretty fair to say that I have a lot of affection for the place and for the people, especially the people who I consider my friends. Since Haiti's in the news at the moment because of some unfortunate things said by a truly unfortunate person, I thought it might be interesting for anybody who had never seen what Haiti actually looks like beyond what you see on the news. I was last in Haiti in 2015, November and December. That's when this footage was shot. This is actually Thursday, December 17th, 2015. This is around 10 o'clock in the morning, so the morning rush had already died down. I was staying at a friend's place in Tabarre, and Tabarre is a suburb of Port-au-Prince. Most days we would head into Port-au-Prince. I would set up shop at a radio station that my friend was working at the time. I would use their electricity, their internet, and their air conditioning. This road is called Maïgate, which means bad corn, and I am not making that up. In the evenings, this whole strip right here becomes an open-air market for food and basically whatever else. This roundabout would get really, really bad most days. This is like the least amount of traffic you would ever see during the day. We got stuck at that roundabout for about 5 minutes on a pretty regular basis. And, you know, being stuck for 5 minutes doesn't seem that bad when you've been stuck for 2 hours before, which has also happened to me in Haiti. So that pickup truck that you see, and then this colorful bus, and these other colorful buses, those are all tap-taps, and tap-taps are how the vast majority of Haitians get around. A tap-tap is basically just like a privately run bus that goes on a set route. They cost about 20 goud, which when I was there was about 35 cents US. They're not very comfortable. The bus ones are better than the pickup truck ones, but none of them are very good at all. They are really fun to look at, though. People take a lot of pride in the way that they have their tap-tap decorated. On Friday afternoons and evenings, police will set up around this roundabout and they will pull over cars and solicit bribes, essentially. And the reason that they do that on Fridays is because, you know, you gotta have money to take your girlfriend or your wife, or both, out on the town. We got pulled over once at a different roundabout in a different part of town, and when they saw my face, they actually just smiled and waved us on. I figured, because I was white, that they'd probably solicit a bigger bribe from us, but apparently that's one aspect of white privilege that you get to carry down into Haiti. This road is either New Boulevard or Haile Selassie, depending on whether you're asking Google or OpenStreetMaps. I think it's highly likely that it's Haile Selassie. This is the main road that cuts through Delmas, and Delmas is kind of a suburb of Port-au-Prince. There's not really much delineation between the two. So in addition to tap-taps, you also have Moto taxis, like that guy right there. That's probably the second most popular way of getting around for Haitian folks. Just a motorcycle and rider, and he'll carry you wherever you want to go. This overpass that we're getting onto right now, this is called the American Road, or at least that's what my buddies called it. It passes over Toussaint Louverture, which is where we just were a moment ago. This morning I realized that I needed to get some cash, which meant, stopping at an ATM. Haiti's pretty much a cash society. That's no real surprise. What was a surprise was that the ATM at the Deli Mart was empty, and so was the ATM here at the Soja Bank. Sorry, I forgot to turn the camera on for that 4-block stretch. So we're gonna go try a third place. This guy with the towel, that's really common. Kids will come and wipe your car down with a dirty towel because Haiti's a really dusty place. And sometimes your windshield gets really dusty and you can't really see out of it all that well. They are really persistent. There's usually a lot of them out, and no matter what you say or how hard you say it, they're going to keep wiping your car down, as is evidenced by this guy who followed us for a full minute, trotting alongside us going uphill. I think we ended up giving him 40 goud. Goud is the currency of Haiti, by the way. It's divided up into 100 centimes. When I filmed this in 2015, it was about 55 goud to the US dollar. In January of 2018, which is when I'm recording this voiceover, it's about 64 goud to the US dollar. Across the street, you see Leslie Center. That is a private lotto kind of thing. I don't really understand it 100%, but there's a ton of the Leslie Centers, and there's a whole bunch of other non-Leslie Center lottos. Speaking of things that don't actually give you money, the ATM was out of money at the second Deli Mart, so we are continuing up the hill. If we were to continue up the road past the point where we're going to turn, spoiler alert, the next place actually has cash in their ATM, we would end up in Petion-Ville, and that's a very wealthy part of town. There are a lot of foreign-owned businesses up there. That's where a lot of wealthy expats who end up in Haiti live, and of course, wealthy Haitians. And then further up past Petion-Ville, you would end up in Mount Boutillier, and I don't think I'm saying that right because I don't think I've ever been able to say that right. Mount Boutillier is where even richer people live. There are very nice houses up there. Behind the blue gate at the top of the hill, that is JPHRO. That is Sean Penn's relief organization that he set up after the earthquake. They work specifically with people in Delmas, and I think they do really good work, and I have nothing bad to say about them, which for me is fairly unusual. Uphill to the right, there are a few really nice hotels. The first time I was in Haiti in 2008, I stayed in one of those hotels. Not on my dime. I was part of a film crew. They put us up at the Hotel Montana, which at the time was, if not the nicest, one of the nicest hotels in the whole country. Unfortunately, it completely collapsed in the earthquake. It's been rebuilt. It looks nothing like it used to, but it does have a really big terrace where you can drink rum sours. That car that looks like a cop car, that is most definitely not a cop car. It's most likely a politician, bureaucrat, something like that. As we get into downtown, you start to see some gingerbread architecture, which is, I think, really beautiful. Haiti's very famous for these houses. The style originated in Haiti. They're seriously threatened, though. Unfortunately, they're very expensive to maintain just because of the age of the houses at this point, and also wood is very expensive in Haiti. If you do ever find yourself in Port-au-Prince, the one gingerbread house that you absolutely have to see is the Hotel Olofsson. It's an old gingerbread mansion that's been converted into a hotel. It's on grounds that have beautiful gardens. The hotel is amazing. It has a huge wraparound porch. The food is okay. Very expensive for Haiti. The drinks are excellent. Also very expensive for Haitian standards. And here we are arriving at Espace FM, which is where my buddy worked at the time. So that's what driving to the office looked like in my particular favorite shithole on earth. Special thanks to my good buddy Smiley, who was driving that morning and many other mornings. And thank you guys for watching.